Our weekly immigration news roundup is brought to you by the law firm of Figueroa and Associates. For a consultation on any immigration or legal matter, please call 855-768-8845. That's 855-768-8845. For full stories and more immigration news, visit www.theimmigrantsjournal.com. That's www.theimmigrantsjournal.com.
Hello, my name is Mary Campbell, legal assistant at the law firm of Figueroa and Associates, and your presenter with this week's immigration news. America can't afford Trump's mass deportation agenda. But Donald, what's the plan? Trump's plan to vaporize the economy, which analyzed prior U.S. efforts to deport people in great numbers and the harmful economic consequences for the overall U.S. economy, native workers, and immigrants alike. According to Vanessa Kirguinis, executive director of America's Voice, the full costs and consequences of relentless and unsparing mass deportations are staggering to contemplate. The costs would be incalculable on American families and communities and devastating for the U.S. economy and consumers. The more people hear about Trump's signature economic and immigration plan, the more unpopular it will become. Perhaps that's why Trump and J.D. Vance are refusing to answer key details. Any reporter writing about the economic consequences of the 2024 campaign ought to include the massive threat of mass deportation. And as the candidates head into next week's debate, the moderators should remember that on multiple occasions, Trump and his running mate have repeatedly dodged questions about the cost and consequences of mass deportation, including Trump avoiding answering a direct question at the last presidential debate. Biden administration considers making sweeping asylum restrictions permanent. President Biden could make his current hardline border restrictions permanent, according to administration officials. In June, Biden issued a temporary executive order sealing off the border when the number of asylum seekers exceeds a daily average of 2,500 for 1 week, and allowing border agents to quickly turn away migrants. The asylum ban being considered would make the executive order a permanent feature of U.S. immigration policy and further lower the threshold at which migrants are rejected. The ACLU and others have sued Biden over the policy. Judge grants Texas request to keep families apart, at least for now. A mere 3 days after 16 Republican-led states sued the Biden administration over its Keeping Families Together parole process, a federal judge in Texas handed the plaintiffs a temporary administrative stay, ordering the federal government to stop granting any applications under the new process while the lawsuit proceeds. The judge's order, which allows the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, to keep accepting applications but not granting them, was issued before the federal government had a chance to respond to the challenger state's motion for preliminary relief. Gavin Newsom vetoes home loan bill for undocumented immigrants. California Governor Gavin Newsom has vetoed a bill that sought to extend state-backed home loan eligibility to undocumented immigrants, a move that could have intensified one of the year's most heated presidential election debates. The proposed legislation aimed to broaden the California Dream for All program to cover residents irrespective of their immigration status. In his veto message, Newsom emphasized that the state's limited funding was a key concern. Expanding program eligibility must be carefully weighed within the broader context of the annual state budget to ensure effective resource management, he wrote. Meanwhile, in New York, migrant families receive $4,000 in grants to aid transition out of NYC shelters. New York City's Department of Homeless Services has given $4,000 grants to 150 migrant families to help with the cost of transitioning from city shelters to permanent housing, according to a new report from Fox News. The payments were made under the ACLI Movement Assistant Pilot Program, which first launched in December to assist asylum-seeking families and pregnant women who are staying in select DHS emergency shelters and have already found permanent housing. The funds can be used for security deposits, moving expenses, first and last month rent, and any household necessities, according to the report. Grant recipients are required to document their expenses. In other news, Oversight Agency says 32,000 unaccompanied children are missing. But are they? Last month, a federal oversight agency published a report claiming that 32,000 children classified as unaccompanied minors did not show up to their immigration court dates. The report, published by the Office of Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, noted that Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, failed to monitor the location of apprehended minors. Media outlets quickly characterized the report's findings as suggesting that ICE lost track of the children, but these media reports are misleading. ICE is the immigration enforcement agency whose mission is to remove individuals, including children, who do not have a legal basis to remain in the United States. It is not a child welfare agency, and it did not lose these children. The OIG report reflects paperwork gaps, not lost children. And finally, USCIS to open international field office in Quito, Ecuador. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services today announced the opening of an international field office in Quito, Ecuador, on September 10. The Quito field office will focus on increasing refugee processing capacity, consistent with USCIS commitments under the U.S. Refugee Admissions Program, and helping reunite individuals with their family members already in the United States. Thank you.
Our weekly immigration news roundup is brought to you by the law firm of Figueroa and Associates. For consultation on any immigration or legal matter, please call 855-768-8845. That's 855-768-8845. For full stories and more immigration news, visit www.theimmigrants.journal.com. That's www.theimmigrants.journal.com.